Welcome back to the CryptoWorld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Ethereum is breaking out from the bullish falling wedge pattern, but the price is running into short-term resistance, which I'll talk about later in the video. And on top of that, Bitcoin is now trading within a sideways consolidation, but the liquidation heat map is revealing new price targets. So I'll be talking about that in just a moment, so definitely stick around. First of all, just giving you a really quick update here on the daily Bitcoin chart, and at least as of right now, we have not yet invalidated the bearish divergence here on the daily time frame, because in order to invalidate this bearish divergence right here, we need to see confirmed higher highs either in the daily candle closes or in the RSI. First of all, if we see higher highs in the daily candle closes, meaning a new higher high in the price of Bitcoin, but in the daily candle closes, not just the candle wicks, then that basically means we invalidate this bearish divergence, but we could still form a new bearish divergence if the RSI is still sitting in lower highs. But on the other hand, if the RSI also breaks out into new higher highs alongside the price, of course, that basically gets rid of any chance of a new bearish divergence forming. And so once again, as I've been saying for nearly 2 weeks now, this bearish divergence means that we're due to see a bit of a short-term pause from this bullish trend, which usually plays out in the form of either a short-term pullback or choppy sideways price action. And obviously, over the last 1 to 2 weeks, we have seen a lot of choppy sideways price action, which is one of the most common outcomes from a bearish divergence. And just staying on the daily time frame, looking at the DXY or the US dollar index here in the red line, and at least as of right now, the DXY is making a new lower low below some of these previous lows here on the daily chart. And so once again, this means that at least for now, the DXY is still within this bearish trend, forming lower highs and lower lows. And basically, while the DXY is in this bearish trend on the daily chart, of course, I'm still bullish on the price of Bitcoin in terms of the trend here on the daily chart. And once again, as I explain basically every video here on the channel, if we're in a bullish trend in the price of Bitcoin, that means higher lows and higher highs, but not 100% only bullish price action. Obviously, we can see some short-term bearish moves here and there, short-term pullbacks or sideways consolidations during a bullish trend. And I do have to explain that basically every video here on the channel, because sometimes I still get comments on these videos basically asking me why we saw a 1 or 2% move to the downside in the short term, even though I'm bullish on the trend in the price of Bitcoin. And so just remember, even though the trend is bullish, we're forming higher lows and higher highs, obviously we can see some small moves to the downside here and there in the short term. Just for as long as we're seeing more bullish price action than bearish price action, we're simply in a bullish trend. And once again, just in the shorter term, we're basically taking a bit of a pause at the moment from that bullish trend due to this bearish divergence, basically resulting in a reduced bullish momentum, at least for now. And if we're taking a look at the 8-hour Bitcoin chart, once again, over the last few days, we've seen a major bounce from this ascending line of support, which was previous resistance. And back then that was at around 40.8K. But right now, this line of support is sitting at around 41.3K. And so basically, if we end up seeing a decent pullback here in the price of Bitcoin, once again, around 41.3K, I would expect a decent amount of support, likely where the price could bounce at if we see a pullback. And if we're zooming further into the short term, looking at the 2-hour Bitcoin chart, at least as of right now, in the immediate short term, the price of Bitcoin is basically within a choppy sideways price range, basically a small sideways consolidation between support and resistance. And at least as of right now, this area of support is sitting in between around 43.1K, going up towards around 43.4K, and this area of resistance is sitting in between approximately 44.4K, going up towards around 44.7K. And so once again, at least in the immediate short term here on the 2-hour chart, we're looking relatively neutral, basically bouncing around sideways between support and resistance. But believe it or not, you can make a lot of money very easily from choppy sideways price action just like this. And if you want to know how to do that, then stick around to the end of this video to find out more. But first, taking a look at some potential price targets here in the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, we do have a decent amount of liquidity building up above the current price, sitting at around 44.6K to around 44.7K. And so essentially, we have a lot of liquidity at the top side of this resistance just here, which means it's likely that sometime soon in the short term, the price could retest that resistance. And as for some potential downside liquidity, we do have a small amount of liquidity building up to the downside, which is sitting at around 42.9K to around 43K. And so, of course, that is sitting just below this area of support right here, which means it's possible the price could bounce before actually hitting that liquidity. And now, if we do end up seeing a confirmed break below this area of support, kind of like what we saw back here, then in that scenario, in that more bearish scenario, I would expect some support at around 41.9k, approximately close to 42k, which is right where this previous low is sitting at. And of course, we have a lot more support in this price range right down here at these previous lows, sitting in between around 40.7k, going up towards around 41k. And remember, we also have that important level of support right here on the 8-hour time frame, sitting at around 41.3k. And so at least for now, those are the short-term support and resistance levels to pay attention to. And once again, in the immediate short term, we're basically just chopping around sideways within a sideways consolidation. But remember, you can make a lot of money from this type of price action if you stick around to the end of this video. But first, getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this is on the daily time frame, and right now, technically speaking, the bearish divergence is still active on the daily chart. And so once again, this basically just means we're taking a bit of a short-term pause on the daily time frame from that bullish trend, but we have not necessarily confirmed a bearish trend reversal. And so once again, in terms of the trend on the daily time frame, the lows and the highs, of course, I'm still very much bullish here on the price of ETH. It's just in the somewhat shorter term, as in over the last 1 to 2 weeks, obviously we have seen a bit of a short-term pause from that bullish trend as a result of the bearish divergence, which at least for now is still active. And once again, we have this important area of support sitting in between around 2.1k, going up towards around 2150. And if we're taking a look at the 8-hour time frame, we also have a Fibonacci level of support at around 2150. And so obviously just recently, this has proved to be major support for the price of ETH. But if we were to see a break below this level and below 2.1k, then in that case, we have more support closer towards $2,000, more specifically around 2010 to 2020. And just staying on the 8-hour time frame, taking a look at this bullish falling wedge pattern, which I've talked about over the last 3 days. And obviously over the last 1 day, we have now seen the breakout to the upside from this bullish pattern. And of course, that was the more likely scenario. Of course, that's not the only scenario, but it was the more likely scenario to see a breakout to the upside from a bullish pattern. But now that we've seen this breakout to the upside actually confirm with candle closes above this resistance, obviously this activates the breakout, activates the pattern, and activates the technical price target for this pattern, which is sitting at around the top of the wedge, which is sitting closer towards around 2.4k, or if you're looking at these 8-hour candle closes, that's sitting closer towards around 2380. And once again, over the last few days here on the channel, I've been preparing you about my short-term trading strategy when it comes to this breakout trade right here for the falling wedge. And as always, I put my money where my mouth is. I did actually enter into this long position right near the breakout point. And now, obviously, this is not a huge trade, only a $50,000 trade, which I already closed some of the trade, but that's because the funding rates at the moment are quite high, which means if you're holding a very large trade over an extended period of time, you're paying a lot of funding rate fees. But of course, that is if you're holding a long position, considering the funding rates are very much positive right now, which means the longs are paying the shorts. And so due to that reason, I did take a small amount of profits off the table. I did close a small amount of this trade around this high right here, around this previous high, because we do have some short-term resistance around that area. But obviously, once again, I do have the remainder of the trade open in case the price continues up towards that technical price target. And just before that technical price target, I will be closing most of that long position if we make it all the way up there. And so by the time we actually hit the technical price target, by the time we reach these previous highs, most of this long position right here will be closed. But I will keep some of it open in case the price continues further to the upside, but that will just be a small amount of this trade right here. And as you can see, for this trade, I have already moved my stop loss at my break-even price. So in the worst case scenario, if the price crashes right now, obviously that will simply hit my stop loss and exit me out of the trade automatically at break-even. But remember, I have already taken some profits off the table. So either way, this trade, at least for me, is a win-win situation. And if you want to take trades just like this to make easy profits when the price is going up or down, then make sure to have an account ready to go over on Bybit, which is where I've taken this trade right here. And so I'll make sure to leave a link to Bybit in the description down below and in the pinned comment. And in fact, if you use that link down below this video to make a Bybit account, you can get up to a $30,000 deposit bonus, but only if you use that link down below this video. But for whatever reason, if you cannot access Bybit or you cannot KYC on Bybit, then there is also Bitflex, which is another crypto exchange similar to Bybit, but you don't need KYC for Bitflex. And in fact, if you use the link down below this video to make a Bitflex account and deposit $100 worth of crypto and to make just one trade over on Bitflex, you can get 10 USDT completely for free. So that's basically a free 10% return on a $100 deposit. And so if you're trading crypto anyway, or if you're preparing to take the next trade, you might as well get set up ready to go on one of these exchanges if you want to claim those extra bonuses. Once again, use those links down below this video. And now, if you missed this breakout trade right here for the price of ETH, do not worry. There's always more trading opportunities almost every day, especially every week, with new patterns just like this forming and breaking. And so as always, I'll make sure to share these patterns here in these videos and my trading strategy even before we actually see the breakout from these patterns. And so if you want to be aware of these price patterns forming and these trading opportunities even before they happen, then make sure you subscribe to this channel with notifications turned on, which is completely for free to do. And that way you get alerted as soon as these trading opportunities appear, even before I take the trades. And now if we're taking a look at the shorter term, looking at the 2-hour time frame, right now the price of ETH is running into a bit of short-term resistance based on this previous high, these previous lows, and also this previous high all the way back here. And so this is an important price range on the chart, which is why we are finding a bit of short-term resistance around that price range. And this price range is sitting in between around 23.10 going up towards around 23.30. And so basically 2,330 is the level to break. And if we see a breakout above 23.30, then we will likely continue the breakout for this pattern right here towards the technical price targets. And so once again, due to this reason that the price is running into a bit of short-term resistance due to this happening, once again, I have taken a small amount of profits off the table for this long position right here. But as I said earlier, I'll close a lot more of that long position once we actually hit these highs right here towards that technical price targets for that falling wedge pattern, if we complete the pattern, of course. And also on the 2-hour time frame, obviously we did have this bullish ascending triangle pattern, which obviously did just recently break out to the upside, and that resistance was sitting at around 22.50. And like I said in my last few videos here on the channel, if we break out above 22.50, then that would set up a short-term price target at around 23.80. And so obviously this short-term ascending triangle pattern gives us a similar breakout and price target to this falling wedge pattern here on the 8-hour chart. But basically between the breakout and the price target, once again, we do have that one area of resistance right here, which is slowing down the price, at least in the imminent short term. And basically this breakout and this price target only invalidate if we see a confirmed break back below this level right here, once again sitting at around 22.50. And so overall, we are still currently looking more bullish than bearish. Obviously, we are breaking out in the short term. It's just right now we are currently running into a bit of short-term resistance, which is something to pay attention to. But if you want to know how you can profit from crypto, no matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or simply chopping around sideways, you can make money in either of those scenarios by watching these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how to make money if the price is bullish or bearish using longs and shorts, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.